When a woman meets the gorillas she grew up with, something unbelievable happens. Tansy Aspinall's upbringing was anything but typical. She was born and raised in the heart of the jungle in the West African country of Gabon. Her father, Damien Aspinall, was a renowned wildlife conservationist, and he, along with his wife, operated a rehabilitation center for captive gorillas. The primary mission of this rescue center was to reintroduce these animals to their native habitat in the West African jungle. Growing up in the jungle, Tansy's early years diverged significantly from the typical childhood experience. Rather than making friends with other children her age at a local school, Tansy formed bonds with and spent her days playing with the gorillas residing at her father's rescue center. She would feed them, engage in games of hide and seek, and care for them much like people do with their household pets. For Tansy, her toddler years were all about frolicking with her gorilla companions, but as the rehabilitated gorillas recovered from their injuries and completed the rehabilitation process, they were prepared for release into the wild. When the moment to do so arrived, Damien, his wife, and Tansy felt a mix of anxiety and heartbreak because they had developed an incredibly strong connection with the apes during their time at the center. Yet they understood that the gorillas belonged in the jungle, and their own future plans involved returning to city life and enrolling Tansy in an elementary school like any other child her age. Tansy did go on to attend school and pursue higher education, but nearly 2 decades later, at the age of 25, she felt a deep longing to return to the jungle and reconnect with her childhood friends, the gorillas. She approached her father with the idea of returning to the Gabonian jungle to search for Jalta and Bims, the 2 apes with whom she had formed the strongest bonds as a toddler. Damien agreed to the expedition, and they set out on a journey to find them. Tansy felt a mix of hope and anxiety as they set out in search of her childhood friends, uncertain if the gorillas would recognize her. It had been over 12 years since their last encounter, and Damien had his doubts about whether they would remember his daughter. Still, Tansy remained optimistic and eager to witness how the gorillas would react. After hours of searching in the Gibon Reserve, a medium-sized natural reserve in central Gabon, they finally encountered the troop of gorillas they sought. The reactions of the gorillas were nothing short of astonishing. Jalta and Bims recognized Tansy and rushed to embrace her, circling around her with excitement and vocalizing their joy. Tansy was deeply moved by this reunion, a moment she had longed for finally coming to fruition. She spent over an hour hugging and playing with her 2 gorilla friends. While she felt as if she could stay in that moment forever, she knew it was time to bid farewell. 2 months after Tansy's visit, devastating news of Jalta and Bim's death reached Damien and Tansy, leaving them heartbroken. Tansy struggled to come to terms with the fact that she would never see her childhood friends again. The question of what had transpired haunted them. Initially, the reserve staff suspected a leopard might have been responsible. However, no evidence of bites or severe wounds was found, dismissing this theory. The situation took a grim turn when the death toll reached 8, including the gorillas Tamki, Kishi, Mumba, Kibi, and Fufu, along with a 3-year-old baby gorilla named Aku. While it seemed likely that another gorilla was behind the attacks, the possibility of poaching was not ruled out. Tansy and Damien, however, held a different perspective. According to them, an adult gorilla named Bumanga, originally from a different troop and also rescued from captivity, was likely the culprit. Bumanga had been subjected to years of mistreatment and physical abuse, leading to psychological trauma. As a result, he had become one of the most dangerous gorillas not only in the reserve, but in the entire country. So in order to prevent more casualties, Bumanga was sought out, tranquilized, and removed from the area. Despite losing her childhood friends, Tansy remained undeterred in her commitment to finding new ways to protect gorillas from human threats and ensure their safety in their natural habitat.